The night sky over Gaza lit up like a twisted fireworks display, but this wasn't a celebration. It was war. Beneath the shimmering orange glow of explosions, the unmistakable roar of twin-engine jets shattered the silence. American and Israeli F-15s had entered the theater. The operation, codenamed Iron Halo, had begun. For Captain Noah Grant, an elite USAF pilot, and Major Lior Sheikh of the Israeli Air Force, it wasn't just about coordinates and targets. It was about stopping something larger, something buried deep beneath the Gaza Strip, hidden by Hamas and shielded by human lives. And tonight, they would risk everything to strike it. 4 days earlier, at an underground command center in Tel Aviv, Israeli intelligence intercepted a transmission, encrypted chatter suggesting Hamas had acquired Iranian-manufactured guided missiles capable of reaching central Tel Aviv. The launch site, intelligence confirmed, was buried beneath a hospital. The IDF requested American collaboration, specifically F-15E Strike Eagles with precision ground-penetrating munitions. Colonel David Ross of CENTCOM gave the green light. 2 squadrons, Falcon Talon from the U.S. and Iron Wing from the Israeli Air Force, were tasked with a rare joint operation. The strike had to be surgical, limited, and exact. Civilian casualties would undermine everything. Captain Noah Grant had flown 28 combat missions over Iraq and Syria. But this one felt different. Intelligence suggested Hamas was expecting an attack and had planted anti-aircraft weaponry disguised among residential towers. One wrong move, and this wouldn't be a strike, it'd be a massacre. Major Lior Sheikh, calm and lethal, was leading the Israeli squad. A father of 2, he had seen the horrors of failed strikes. He was determined this would not be one of them. They had 7 minutes over target. 14 jets. 0 room for error. At 0103 hours, under radio silence, the squadrons launched from 2 separate bases, Grant from the USS Truman in the eastern Mediterranean and Sheikh from Ramon Air Base in southern Israel. As they entered Gaza airspace, radar picked up scattered movement. Ground control crackled. SAM sights active. Expect hostile anti-aircraft batteries. They descended to 11,000 feet, just above the engagement threshold. Each F-15's onboard radar swept the zone like a hawk's eyes. Falcon 1, paint your target, Sheikh called out. Roger that. Locked on. Target designated Tango, Bravo, 6. Coordinates confirmed. What the satellite imagery hadn't shown was the smoke rising from surrounding apartment blocks. Decoys, lures to bait the jets closer to Hamas-controlled zones thick with shoulder-launched missiles. As the jets aligned for release, a sudden lock-on alarm screamed in Grant's cockpit. Missile! Missile! Evasive! A streak of light shot upward. Sheikh pulled hard to the left, flares blinding the missile's heat-seeking sensors. It detonated in mid-air, too close for comfort. Falcon 3 is hit, someone shouted over comms. A US F-15 spun out, its wing trailing fire, before its pilot ejected over the Mediterranean. There was no time to mourn. The window was closing. Grant steadied himself. His fingers danced over the controls, confirming hard lock on bunker entrance. Coordinates updated. Let's end this, Sheikh whispered. The target lay beneath Shifa Hospital. According to Israeli intelligence, an entire missile silo had been constructed using smuggled North Korean blueprints. Hamas commanders were inside, directing operations. To avoid hitting the hospital, the strike had to penetrate through a narrow underground tunnel entrance located 200 meters away, camouflaged beneath a fake construction site. Grant's F-15E released 2 GBU, 28 bunker busters. Simultaneously, Sheikh's squad fired decoy flares and engaged rooftop SAMs. The bombs hit. Silence. Then the ground erupted. A delayed explosion followed by a series of concussive thumps shook the city. Even from altitude, they could feel the heat wave. Secondary explosions followed, underground fuel storage, weapon caches, perhaps even the command network collapsing in on itself. Good hits, Grant confirmed. No civilian structures compromised, added Sheikh. But then, incoming. 12 o'clock. 4 surface-to-air missiles launched from inside a nearby mosque compound. Hamas had embedded launchers in religious sites, gambling the IDF and US wouldn't retaliate. Wrong. Sheikh growled. Permission to engage? Grant paused. The rules of engagement were clear, but so was the threat. Permission granted. Laser-guided precision missiles launched from their underbellies. In seconds, the launch site was incinerated, surgical, devastating. The mission clock hit 6:59. "Egress now," shouted ground control. As they veered out over the sea, flames rose behind them like phoenix wings. They had done it. Not perfectly, but decisively. No celebration in the air. Only silence, radio crackles, and the heavy weight of what war demands. Back at the debriefing room, no one spoke for a long moment. Then the footage rolled. Thermal scans confirmed the strike had hit the bunker directly. Underground telemetry revealed a total structural collapse. Intelligence later identified 3 high-value Hamas commanders among the dead. Civilian casualties? 0. The mission, once considered nearly impossible, had been executed with lethal precision. Colonel Ross nodded. "You saved Tel Aviv tonight." Still, the cost was not lost on them. Falcon 3's pilot had survived, but barely, rescued by Israeli Navy divers 20 miles off the coast. Grant stared at the strike footage. "You ever think about what we almost hit?" Sheikh sighed. "Every time. That's why we can't miss." Later that night, Sheikh drove home in silence. He didn't tell his wife what had happened. He just kissed her forehead and tucked his son into bed. Grant, aboard the Truman, stood on deck and watched the stars. The war wasn't over. It never really was. But for one night, they had taken a piece off the board. One missile silo fewer. One nightmare averted. The world only heard about the strike in passing. A precision operation, the reports called it. Another footnote in a never-ending war. But those who flew knew better. It wasn't just a strike, it was a message. That even in a battlefield where every inch is booby-trapped with political fallout, there are men who still fly straight. Who carry the weight of life and death on their wings. The night sky over Gaza still glows sometimes. But that night, it glowed with purpose. And somewhere, deep underground, silence answered back.